Welcome to Reflections of a CEO, where I take you behind the scenes on what it's really like to run a business. So today, I want to get you up to speed a little bit on some internal discussions we've been having at my company, Jakt, and some of the decisions that we're thinking about and having to make right now. So for those of you that don't know, Jakt has been around for about 6-7 years now. Started in 2012. Last year we did $4 million in revenue, so decent sized business. You know, when you're at that scale, you know, you have a team around you, and there's a number of moving parts, right? And being that it was the first agency that I built, you know, I figured out a lot along the way on my own, and kind of made things up as I went along. And one thing that I know now that I didn't really know from day one, which by the way is something that I talked about in a different episode of this, and something that, you know, in this we're spinning out another agency. We're doing things slightly differently so that it doesn't cause some of the challenges that we're facing today. But it's the idea that you want to stay very focused and narrow in your service offering, because that will help you in a few ways. One is from the production side of things. You can just have this machine producing the same thing over and over, really repeatable. And then from the marketing and sales side, you can also build a nice machine and the new business system. So your marketing message is towards the same people. Your sales process is moving along with the same people, and it's just this nice flow. You know, I didn't know that day one of Jakt. So as we grew, we expanded into a couple different offerings and a few different services. And now at this point, you know, we have done well, right? 4 million in revenue, 20% profit margin. Someone might be asking, like, what's wrong? And well, I'll tell you what's not as great, right? On the surface, that sounds like a really amazing business. However, I'm not happy with it, and we on the management team are not happy with it for a few reasons. One is we're not as consistent as we would like to be on the production side, or as consistent as we'd like to be and repeatable and predictable on the marketing and sales front. So what are we doing? Well, we're doing what I'm telling other people I wish I would have done, or doing what we're going to be doing with Pulp of Finance from day one, which we've already started doing. Right, and that is we're going a bit more narrow now. So we're actually going to niche down even more than we are right now, and go more focused. Right now, it's an interesting challenge because we have a moving business. We have something that's up and running that last year did 4 million in revenue. Right, that each month does over 300,000 in revenue. Right, with employees. Right, so it's a little bit harder. And I think Cody actually said this very well. Cody's the president of Jakt, who's going to be spearheading all of our efforts. It would be easier to start a new business than it would be to do what we're about to do with Jakt. And I can't actually disagree with him, right? We're going to take a moving ship, and it's going this way, and we're going to start making adjustments. So it's a very interesting thing because I've never navigated something of this size. It's taking a moving ship that's going this way, and then you're turning it, right? Versus if you take a little small boat that's just starting and you start moving it and turning it, it's much easier to go in this direction, right? Versus a ship that's moving one way and it's a big ship and you're trying to turn it, right? But that's essentially what we're going to try and do. That's the challenge we're facing. That we've decided as a management team. Hey, we're gonna try and do this over the next. You know, we were very ambitious with it. We thought we were going to do over the next 12 months. It might take, you know, 18, 24 months to be in the shape that we really want it to be. Look, there's nothing, our business is not bad, right? I mean, I'm not complaining whatsoever. 4 million with a 20% profit margin, like, you know, I'm super happy. And to be honest, we could probably keep running as is and do that again, right? And we've even talked about it, like, hey, why are we going to change this, right? Like, we can keep running the business as it is, you know, do another 4 million with 20%, and like, that's some good money, not bad, right? But there's some things internally that we're not super happy with that I mentioned, right? The we're doing a number of different types of work in different types of industries with different types of customers. And, I'm not mad about it actually on how we got here. Had to go through it to be at where we are now, right? To learn the lessons that I now know and which I help now other companies do that are starting their agencies. But I had to go through it, and also had to go through that for me because I didn't have the past experience of working at a large company or working at a different business. Like, I've never worked anywhere. I didn't have a lot of the experience of like figuring out, okay, this is the one thing I like. So Jakt became my playground, right? Jakt became the playground to test out and try a lot of different types of projects, a lot of different types of work. And to me, it was always, hey, we're getting paid to learn. So it's kind of cool. So it was being able to test out a bunch of different types of work at scale. And now we've grown it to a nice size scale. And now we're saying, okay, cool, we're trying out a lot of these things. And now we're going to focus. We're going to turn down some things and focus. So it's an interesting challenge though, right? To take a moving ship and course correct it. And we're like, hey, should we, what's the time frame we should do this under, right? How do you start turning your marketing messaging towards something a little bit new without alienating your existing leads that are coming in, right? Like, we have on the marketing side, we're getting leads in, right? But if we change our messaging, we may alienate that, and we still need that revenue coming in to support our team that is, that we have. And so, I mean, we've talked about every single different idea at this point. We've talked about, hey, what if we actually just like chopped everything in half and just like, took a little bit of the overhead pressure off of us. We're not doing that. We've thought about that. I'm just throwing out all the different things we've thought about. We've thought about forming a new company or a new brand, such that our marketing towards this new little niche is more of a we're testing it out before we go full on. So then Jakt still has a presence, and then new brand has a presence. Don't know what that would be, but that's an interesting idea as well. There's also a time component, which is how fast do we need to do this? We set a 12-month window on when we really wanted to pivot or change this business. Now I'm kind of thinking maybe it's actually a 18 and 24-month thing, because we have a moving thing, and it's harder to change a moving thing than I think I and maybe the team realized, right? If you're starting from the ground up, much easier to shape things versus having a moving ship that's running, right? And then it doesn't have to be an all or nothing, I think, as well, right? Say we have 4 million in revenue, maybe over the next year $1 million in revenue is of this new thing, and we still have 3 million of old, and then it goes to 2 and 2, and then 3 and 1, and then 4 and 0, or I don't know, whatever it is, but we don't need to turn all of it, right? And I don't think we will, right? Like, we have some really good customers right now. It's not like we're gonna get rid of all of our customers. If you're a customer of Jakt, don't worry, that's not what we're saying. It's more taking what we currently have, and then it's almost like an addition, almost, right? Like adding a whole new line of business, but that is very narrow and focused, that we're adding on top almost, and where over time, maybe our existing business that makes up that 4 million, maybe that becomes, a couple $1 million of our business, and this new thing becomes a couple million. I don't know. I really don't honestly know how it's gonna shape out exactly. We have a management meeting in Miami, so I'm in Miami. If you're joining my video, Cody and Lauren are flying into Miami for our end of month meeting. We're gonna be talking about this more there, but we have some interesting, we decided on this direction broadly, a couple months ago. It's part of our year-long kind of focus, but along the way, you have learnings. Right? You make an adjustment, and it's not as easy as we thought, or whatever, and it's a constant process of learning. So I'll keep talking about how we're actually going to get there over time, because I have no idea. So this is why I want to document all this stuff, so you actually can see us doing it. And I will say we're not 100% ready yet to, and I will tell everyone, here's like the new brand or thing that we're thinking about. I will say it has to do with e-commerce. It's something we've been doing a lot recently, and it's a direction we like and a type of business we like, a type of business where you can see an ROI quite fast. You're selling the actual product. So, and we have some e-commerce customers right now, right? So that's why when I say, hey, we're not like starting a completely new business or doing something completely different, it's because like we're not. It's more taking, say we have 10 types of customers right now. What are the similarities? And like, oh, well, 25% is this, and 25% is this, and 25 is this, and 25 is this. What we're gonna say is, okay, that 25 we really like. Okay, now let's now make that 50 or 75%, or rather like double or triple the revenue, and maybe keep these, those other, the former 75%, say it's 3 million, maybe on the e-commerce, then we add another 2 million or 3 million. And so then we have 6 million. Maybe that's what we end up doing. I don't really know. But the other thing that we're kind of, the challenge we're faced with is that it will turn into a slightly different company than before, right? And not everyone is going to like that, right? Not everyone on the team is going to like that works here. So we may have some turnover, right? Or in this new direction, we may realize that we don't have all the right people that we need, right? That's kind of like the hard part with some of this stuff is you have to think through those decisions, and like, is the team that we have today who we need moving forward? If not, who is it? How do you change? How do you pivot this? Or do you not pivot at all? Do you just keep running this business and really we're starting almost a new business? And at the beginning of the year, I was very gung-ho on like, no, we're gonna like completely revolutionize, like change our business to like something else. And now it's kind of like, nah, maybe we don't. We learned a lot of lessons, and any agency that we start moving forward, we're gonna take a lot of these lessons and implement them. And with this one, it's not that bad of a business, right? I mean, again, 4 million, 20% profit, like fucking, it's not a bad business at all. It's just more like, do we want to take on the challenge? And I think we do. Actually, we do, right? We want to take on the challenge of just like reinventing ourselves. So that's really what it is. It's not even, it's more like an interesting challenge about reinventing us in an exciting new direction. And, but one other thing we've been talking about at Jakt, and I've talked about this on a podcast as well and wrote a blog, is in order to do this, we really need participation from people on the team that are really bought in and will really help us do this. We can't do it alone. And especially now that I'm a bit removed and working on Pulpo, it puts a lot of the pressure on Cody as president to do a lot of this, right? So he doesn't have me there day to day, and Lauren is also moving more towards Pulpo and only spending part of her time on Jakt. So when he used to have 3 of us on the management team, on the executive level team, it's really just him. So he needs to, we've been talking about this, how does he get everyone else really stepping up to another level? Or what people do we need to bring in, right? We need to bring in some higher level people to do this, because this is not, a small lift. And so that's what we're discussing now. We're going to be talking more about that when Cody and Lauren come in over the next week. But it really goes back to something that is important, I think, to emphasize, is it really comes down to people and culture, and getting high performers in the room, people with who love accountability, people who can really play the same game, using a word that Cody, a phrase that Cody uses, right? Playing the same game as you, and where there's a bit more equality in the sense of how much someone is contributing. And maybe that means that we need to change our salary structure and bonus structure, and there may be other changes along the way that I'm not sure of. We're figuring out, and really Cody is spearheading this. So that's the fun part about this. Also is kind of put it in Cody's court. He has in order to really take ownership, he has to have the freedom to make a lot of these decisions, and so it'll be interesting to see how it unfolds. I'm enjoying my role as more of a strategic, high-level thought partner, helping set the longer-term direction of the company, but seeing Cody really take the reins and implementing, some of these changes and being his thought partner on them, but letting him ultimately have the decision. I'm really enjoying that. and I think he's extremely capable, and he's done an amazing job since taking over. So, first couple months of this year, very profitable for us. I think in January, I'll have to look at the numbers again. January, I think we had like 60K in profit. I think February was the same, or something like that. We always release our financials. So I do want to emphasize, like, hey, the business is doing well. It's just we want to have a new evolution of it. We want to make it even better than it is now, a better version of it. And so anyways, it'll be fun to see how this year plays out with Jakt. But yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to really document it. And I wanted to show, like, hey, look, even at our size, we don't have everything figured out. We're not perfect. And it'll be interesting to see the next, 12, 18, 24 months and see how things evolve. And I'll of course keep documenting it and sharing it. But yeah, that's the real message, right? Like, we don't have everything figured out. We're figuring stuff out. Business is financially looks good. But these are the kind of things that are really happening that I found behind the scenes of businesses that people aren't sharing. But like, here, this is what we're trying to figure out. I think we have too many different types of things we're working on, and we want to niche down and narrow down. So, but everything happens perfectly as it's supposed to happen. So I'm very happy with where we're at. I wouldn't take anything back. I love how we got here, and I'm excited for the future. So, yeah, I mean, that's it. So that's really what I want to talk about. I will keep everyone posted. This was a real reflections of a CEO, really my perspective on what's going on behind the scenes at Jakt. And I'm glad I got to share it with everyone. So stay tuned. You'll see how the company evolves. Please subscribe for updates. I try and record at least a couple episodes a week, and touching on various topics behind the scenes of both Jakt and other Pulpo Group companies. And yeah, so subscribe. Thanks for joining, and hope to see you all next time. All right, have a good one.